I feel great about the guys we signed. You'll probably get tired of me hearing me say this, but I not only feel good about the type of player we brought in, I feel great about the type of kid that we're bringing in this class. I had the privilege of going around and stopping at all these guys' homes and meeting their family and talking to the kids through December. And what kept making an impression on me is the type of character kid that has chosen to come and be part of our family at Nebraska. I think there's a pretty special group in a lot of ways, but the type of individuals that they are was really impressive to me.
It was a fairly drama-free day for you guys. I mean, that just kind of speaks to the kind of kids you're bringing in. There wasn't a lot of hoopla, hype. This guy signed their letters, put them in, and called it a day.
I think you're right. I think there was a pretty drama-free signing day for us because the commitments we had were commitments. A bunch of good kids that gave us their pledge, and we honored it, and they honored it. There's a couple kids we were fighting for right down to the end. But other than that, this group committed to us, and we're fired up to sign and become part of our family. So it was a pretty relaxing day for us.
Scott, when you're recruiting defensive players, how much do you look for a certain mentality in those defenders? How big of a factor is that? And what are you looking for?
Yeah, when we're recruiting defense, obviously we want athletic ability, but we're also looking for toughness. In fact, when we go out on the road, that's two of our priorities to look for is upside athletic ability they can work with, and a guy that you'd want to be in a scrap with. That kind of edge, that kind of mentality, that kind of toughness and aggressiveness. That's what Husker defense has been built on as I knew it. And the more guys we can get like that, I think the better mentality the whole defense will be.
Scott, could you talk about the recruitment of Wandale Robinson, how you ended up getting him, and what he means to this class?
I sure am glad we have Wandale. I really like him as a young man. That's not even to speak of the things that he can do on the football field, which I can't wait to get my hands on that and start working with him. I got to give some credit to Troy Walters and Ryan Held with Wandale, because when he committed somewhere else, I gave up. I wasn't going to spend any more time on him, and those guys kind of kept with it. And we knew all along that this is kind of where his heart was, and I think there's a lot of pressure in recruiting that goes on, particularly if a kid's going to leave a school that's closer to home. And sure, I'm glad that Wandale followed his heart and came here, and we're going to get started with him real quick. He's enrolling early, and he'll be here for spring ball, and we got a new toy for our offense.
Did you feel like you improved your offensive line, especially with this class and generation?
I'll keep giving guys credit. Coach Austin fights for his group in recruiting as much as anybody on our staff. He wants to get his group right. He takes a lot of pride in that. Love the group that we brought in, and Coach Austin did a great job with it. Bryce Benhart is as big a kid as I've ever recruited, and not only that, but he's a great kid and a really good athlete, an elite wrestler. Matthew Anderson from Louisiana is the frame we're looking for. I think he's got a huge upside for us once we get him in here and get him with Zach. Jimmy Fritchie, who joined us late, is kind of the same type of kid. Love his mentality. He's going to be huge, and he's a great athlete that played other positions. Michael Lynn from Colorado, he's a special kid. Being out there and talking to him, it's like talking to a 29-year-old. The way he's got life figured out. Look forward to getting all those guys in here. I think they all have a huge upside, and with some work, I think they've become really good players for us.
Did Austin have to lobby for Fritchie? I mean, when you say fight for kids, and was there kind of I see something in this guy that maybe other people don't?
If you were only in our meetings, you only have so many spots in recruiting, and there's a lot of needs for us to address and make sure that we're getting the right kind of talent into the program at all the different spots. I think Greg would sign 31 offensive linemen if he could. I limit him a little bit, made sure that we were getting the right kind of kid, a kid that we all agreed we thought could be the type of player and the type of person that we wanted, and kind of boiled down to the kids that he ended up getting, and I think he did a great job. I think we signed a really good class up front.
You talked about that job Barrett did.
getting all the in-state guys to do what?
Well, yeah, you know, I knew Barrett was big in Nebraska, but I remember being at a basketball game last winter, and they introduced all the assistant coaches, and everybody else got a nice round of applause, and the whole Pinnacle Bank Arena erupted with the Rude chant when he came out. He's the right guy to have in Nebraska. I thought it was a good year in Nebraska, talent-wise. If we can sign 5 scholarship quality players from the state every year, that'll be a good start for us. There were some special players in the state this year. All 5 of them, I think Nebraska people know them pretty well, but those guys are going to be huge for us, and I think they'll help be the backbone of the program we're building.
Scott and Nick Henrich out of Burke and Chris Hickman, those 2 guys coming out of Omaha. Haven't been a lot of recruits out of Omaha, but getting those 2 guys that were highly recruited, what about you?
Those guys were keys for us. We can't let in-state talent get away. We got to win in Nebraska and start going across borders and getting other kids. I think this staff getting in here had a lot to do with Nick and Chris both deciding to come. I think the relationships they developed with Barrett and Coach Beckton really helped with those 2 guys. Those 2 guys had a great high school career. A lot of the guys in-state recruits, I think every one of our guys either played in the championship game or the semifinals, and if you go across our recruiting class, that's kind of a common thread, is these guys are coming from winning programs. They were winners in high school. Nick and Chris certainly were winners in high school and are going to be great for us to have on the team.
You got 4 kids out of Georgia. Can you speak to kind of what the key was with those connections that allowed you to recruit that state the way you did?
Again, giving credit where it's due, I think Coach Beckton did an unbelievable job down there. That's one of his areas. I think our coaching staff's credibility kind of in Florida and Georgia is still carrying some weight. Just happened to be more in Georgia this year than it was in Florida. But I love the guys we got out of there. I think we went down there and got the right kind of kids with a ton of talent, and those 4 kids are going to have a chance to be special around here.
What do you think carried the day for you with Ty Robinson? Obviously, a lot of people wanted him. What do you think got you over the top of that?
Ty's our kind of kid. I think he's a Nebraska type of kid. Helps that his grandpa's from O'Neill, Nebraska. That certainly didn't hurt. I went to kindergarten and 1st grade in O'Neill, so we had a lot to talk about. Ty had a ton of choices, a lot of places to go. Coach Dawson deserves a ton of credit for that. I don't know if I've seen one coach work as hard for one player as Coach Dawson did to get Ty. Not just Ty, but Mosai, Brant Banks out of Houston, Ethan Piper, who I don't think gets the credit he deserves out of Norfolk. We needed to add to the depth and talent level on the defensive line. Coach Dawson did a great job.
You guys got Ronald Hopkins, who has been hurt quite a bit the last couple of years, but you see some talent there. How do you evaluate that? What kind of player can he be?
Ronald's a guy that other people tried to come in on here late. I think if Ronald would have stayed healthy this year, it might have been tough for us to hold on to him with all the people that would have come after him. One thing I take pride on with our staff in recruiting is that we're as honest as we can be. And when we give people our word or say something, we mean it. When a kid's committed to us, we're committed to them. And even if somebody gets hurt, we're going to see them through that injury, bring them here even if they can't play. I think that means a lot to kids, means a lot to parents. And Ronald went down early on in the season. If you watch his highlights from this year before he got hurt, I think he has a chance to be special. And I think he's doing well in his rehab process. We'll see how healthy he is when he gets here, but I know I expect great things from him.
Scott, what did you see from Luke early in the process that you guys were ready to make him the quarterback of the class when he hadn't really played that position in a full-time capacity?
Well, Mario takes pride in recruiting quarterbacks just like he takes pride in coaching quarterbacks. Since I've been with Mario, we've had one of the best quarterbacks in the country every year that I've been with him. And the way that he goes about it is very meticulous. I think we had a group of 3 or 4 kids that we thought fit us and were the right type of kids. As we got to know Luke, we kind of started leaning in that direction, and he called and wanted to commit, and we were excited about it. Love his athletic ability, love his mentality. He throws it really well too. I think that really improved this year, and he's going to get a chance to get in here early as an early enrollee and get involved with spring ball, so we can't wait to have him.
How important was recruiting? Length and size, both on the offensive and defensive lines, and then, if you look at your defensive backs, they're 6'2", 6'3", 6'3". It appears that size was a consideration in the class. How important was that? How much you guys can get?
Yeah, I said this after the Iowa game, but there was a few games this year where, looking across the 50 at other people warming up, I thought teams were bigger than us, and that's not supposed to happen in Nebraska. The Nebraska I know is bigger, stronger, and more physical than other teams. We certainly have some of those guys on our team right now, but we need more of them. We wanted to get bigger, particularly on the two lines, but also in other areas and other positions. And we weren't just recruiting size; we wanted good players and good athletes. And I think we were able to fill those needs for the most part.
For you guys as a staff, just to have 23 signed, I mean, will this be the first time you've been able to really breathe and catch your breath at Nebraska in this last 12 months to kind of have this stretch behind you?
Yeah, it never ends. You know that. Hopefully we're not done today. I don't know how much more we'll be able to announce, but hopefully there's a couple more signatures that'll get announced eventually. We're going to have, with our roster kind of turnover this year, I think we can sign up to 30. So I think we'll have probably around 4 spots left to look for guys in January and beyond. So the work never ends, but my coaching staff has done a great job. I hired the right guys when I got a job the first time, and I'm grateful to those guys for the work that they've done. We're tired, though. First years are hard. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that need to be done. This staff's gone 3 straight years without a bye week, so we haven't had a lot of time to rest. I think we're all going to enjoy the Christmas break and come back ready to go back to work.
Scott, you mentioned before about the comment about being recruiting winners. How important is that to recruit guys from winning programs to kind of bring that culture with them to Nebraska?
Well, people that know how to win and expect to win. And I don't think it's any accident that if you have a bunch of winners in your program and kids that come from winning high school programs, that's going to lead to good things. I got to say thank you to all the high school coaches whose kids are coming our way. Like I said, going around and seeing the type of seasons that all these kids had, I don't think there's one that wasn't in the playoffs or didn't go deep into the playoffs or win championships or play for championships. And I hope that's their expectation when they get here too, because that's where we're headed.
What are some of the things you look for when you try to identify some guys that have a chance to kind of contribute early?
I say this to the recruits all the time. We wouldn't be recruiting them from a physical standpoint if we didn't think that they could come in and play for us. We're always trying to recruit the best we can, and the guys we're recruiting we think have the athletic ability and skill to come in and play. Usually the biggest factor in determining whether somebody plays or not is their level of maturity and if they approach their preparation and approach football like a pro and like an adult. So usually that has more to do with whether they get on the field their freshman year than anything else. I tell guys to come in and dive in, go full speed. Don't dip your toe in the water. I'd rather see guys tackle the wrong guy full speed than the right guy half speed. And the guys that come in and just let it rip, usually you can see it right away, and those guys are typically ready to try to contribute.
What do you like about Darian, Chase, and Jamie Nance each, and maybe also just as a pair of receivers in the class?
Yeah, those two added with Wandale, who's going to be kind of a hybrid for us, I think is a really good start to adding to our receiver talent and depth. Jamie had a great year down in Oklahoma. He can really run. I mean, he can go. I'm anxious to see what he can run a 40-yard dash in when he gets here because his 100 time is really good. Had kick returns in high school, played defense, did a lot for his high school football team. Great kid. We're excited to have him. Darian, we kind of got in on late. My first conversation was with his father, who was a Special Forces military guy, and we hit it off right away. Darian's team won a state championship. I was actually at the high school the day they were having the get together to celebrate it, and He's a winner. He's playing basketball. He's an athlete. Tremendous ball skills. Great kid. So we needed to definitely add to the talent depth in our receiver room, and I think we had a really good start with it today.
You got guys from Washington, New Jersey, Kentucky, Colorado, Georgia, all offensive skill players. What does that speak to the brand that you guys have already built of offense here and how well that travels around the nation?
Yeah, if you're a football fan and you followed our offense, I think you see what type of firepower it has, and I think that lends itself to having recruits want to come play in this offense. We had a great start, covered a lot of ground in year one offensively, still want to get better. But speaking to the last job we had, they were second to last in the country in offense when we got there, and after 2 years, we were the #1 scoring offense in the United States. And this one's headed in the same direction, particularly with Adrian at the controls. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country, and if I was a skill player on offense, I'd want to come play with a guy like that.
How do you focus, or do you focus on a position group, a side of the ball over the next month and a half? What do you look at during that time?
Yeah, we're gonna let the dust settle, see how many spots we still have. It's gonna be a best available player that we can get to Lincoln for the most part. I think there's still some things we'd like to add. I think we need to improve our depth at outside linebacker and pass rusher, so we'll keep our eye out for that. If there's another young receiver that we can add, I think our depth there has been really not where we want it to be through this first year. I think we could still use a young corner to try to get in here and develop and see if they can help us. So those are kind of areas that we're looking, but it doesn't really matter, skill player on offense, D-line. If we find a guy that we think can move the needle and help us win games in the Big Ten, we're going to take him.
You said your depth wasn't really where you wanted it to be as far as receiver. When you're talking with Troy about the type of players you want to recruit for that receiver room, what's the balance between guys like Wandale and guys like Darian Chase?
Ideally, I just want 5 guys on the field all the time that can hurt you if you leave them open. And we certainly use guys in different roles in different ways. We kind of have had outside receivers that are straight outside receivers, and we've had running backs playing slot, and we've had slots playing running back, and guys that can do multiple things, and we've had running back types playing Z and X for us before. So I just want 5 skilled players on the field all the time that are dangerous, and the way our offense is able to distribute it, once we get that way, we're going to be tough to stop.
How do you approach the grad transfer market in the coming months? And do you anticipate adding any grad transfers for January?
We're definitely going to keep our eyes open. There's a couple positions where I think we could benefit from having a guy that's ready to come in and play right now. And if we find the right guy, particularly at the right position, we'll take a hard look at that. So, with 3, 4, 5 spots, whatever it's going to be left, we certainly aren't going to be hunting for every one of those. But if it's the right guy, we're definitely going to be open to it.
You're looking at junior college players, the difference between January and May or June seems like a big. So are you willing to still take a junior college guy? He's not going to be here mid-year?
Yeah, junior college players, the farther we get into the development of this program, I think our need for that will go down a little bit every year. We're still willing to take those guys. At certain positions, it probably matters more than others to get in here for spring ball. But if it's the right kid, we'll bring them after May too. So again, if we have spots left after today, it's going to be the best we can get, guys that fit us the best, whether it's a grad transfer, junior college kid, or a high school kid.
Scott, in terms of guys coming in early, how many do you see of these 23 to start? And how important is it for a guy to come in early if they want to make an impact early?
I think by my last count, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be 6 early enrollees. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. I've seen it work both ways. I've seen guys not get here until summer or get to school until summer and contribute greatly their freshman year. It does help to get that spring ball under your belt. I think it gets you a little more familiar with the scheme. It gets you comfortable with the team, and maybe most importantly, it gets you used to going to college and having to deal with a college lifestyle. I hope we have players that are here early that help us next year. I hope we have players that aren't coming until summer that help us next year. So I'm excited about this class, and I think this group is going to be mature enough and ready enough to come in and compete.
What was the thinking behind taking the whole staff or most of the staff to a couple spots for 2 at a time? And then how much organization does it take to get all 11 in the same place at the same time?
Well, see, at this time of year, a lot of the coaches have been around each other a lot, and all our little habits are starting to wear on each other. So I'm always careful to bring everybody together. But there was a few kids here down the stretch that we wanted them to know how important they were to us, and we kind of intentionally put them off to the end to give us the best chance to try to be as late into the home as we could. And boy, they were fun. You know, we were at Ty's house with the entire staff. There was some cornhole going on, some ping pong, a little bit of basketball, a bonfire, and a camel. And a dog that can go get waters out of the fridge on command for you. So it was a fun night, and that one ended up paying off for us.
Could the camel get water too?
Calvin the camel, I don't know. I thought camels carried water around with them. Have to check on that.
You got a sense of when Andrew Bunch might give you the answer on that, whether he's going to stay there?
Yeah, I don't want to get into Andrew's business too much. I really like the kid, and I want what's best for him. I think talking to him, he just wants to explore his options and see if there's a place out there where he can get on the field and play, or might have a better chance to get on the field and play. If he doesn't find it, we'll welcome him back here with open arms. He's been a great teammate and a great part of our team, and I want what's best for him no matter what he decides.
You're a proponent of the 18 playoff, and in the last couple of weeks there's been multiple news stories quoting coaches and 2 conference commissioners saying that they're willing and open to expanding the playoff. The team you used to coach didn't get in, and again this year even in the 125 in a row. You still feel very strongly about expanding that, and given the recent conversations and encouraging you to see what's happening?
I'm a proponent of 8-team playoff. I have been. I'll keep this short for you, but it needs to be the 5 major college conference champions and 3 at large. I think that makes the most sense. Then a team like UCF this year or last year would have a chance to go compete for it. Take the case of the Big Ten this year. If Northwestern would have beat Ohio State in the championship game, I think they win the Big Ten, they deserve to be in. Ohio State probably deserved to be in then too, at 11-2, or if they were 12-1 and lost in that game. I think that gives you the best chance to solve it on the field. Any sport where it's solved on the field and not in a committee room is a better sport to me. And I'll continue to push this. I don't think college football is fair and equitable until every conference plays the same number of conference games. If we get those 2 things fixed, I think college football will be in a better place.
One more. What's your message to the team here as they head out on Christmas break and, just get ready to come back to strength and conditioning and everything in January?
I think they know what they're in for when they get back, but I think they're looking forward to it. I just got done with an interview at Husker247, and I said I can't remember a season when I just got done with the season when I was so quickly excited about getting started next year. I think a lot of people in our building, from our coaches to our players, have that feeling. I want the guys to get away, go and enjoy Christmas with their families. When they come back, we got to get to work. Our team's going to be in a lot better shape this year than it was last year. We had to start from absolute ground zero from a strength conditioning standpoint with the guys. With a year under their belt with Zach, we're way ahead of where we were a year ago, and I can't wait to get started with them. Last thing I'd say is I want to thank a few guys that never get named very often, but Sean Dillon and Ryan Callahan and Trent Mossbrucker. Our 3 recruiting guys are the guys organizing travel and keeping tabs on recruits and getting NLIs out and getting transcripts and doing all the behind-the-scenes work. And we couldn't get many of these players without those guys, so we just want to mention them. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas, everyone.